Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I want to talk about partial reps. Bugenhagen and Ward have been discussing them lately, so it's been in my YouTube comments. People are talking about it on various Facebook pages. So I want to address the comments about partials, clear up some information for you guys, give you some good take-home tips that you can apply in your own training. Before I get into this topic, if you have any questions or comments, check out the link below. Come on over, submit your questions. The best questions I turn into videos just like this. All right. So you guys know that I've used partial deadlifts, not deadlifts. Deadlifts, I'm a big fan of them. Not high partials, but 3 to 5 inches off the ground, sometimes 7 if your lower back isn't feeling the best, going a little bit lighter, not pulling off the ground. I'm a big fan of partial deadlifts for this reason, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. But Jerry Ward made a video about partials, not locking out, which is kind of like partial reps. And I'm not watching Ward's video. I'm not watching Bugenhagen's video. They really don't matter in this conversation. I know Eric Bugenhagen, I guess you pronounce his name like that. I don't watch his stuff. Not that I don't think he's a good guy, because he probably is. But made the comment, I believe that you should never use partials. What I want to talk about is extremes in lifting, and it really has to do everything to do with this conversation and applying it to your own training. When it's not what these guys said that's important, okay? It's when anybody comes on in the lifting world, in the nutrition world, and says you should never do something, that it has zero value. When somebody says that, that should be a red flag to you. When somebody says something has zero value, that should be a red flag, because there are always instances and cases where partial lifts can have a decent application, where they can be used to build muscle, where they can be used to build strength. We're creative little buggers. We're creative little men and women, guys and gals. We can figure things out for ourselves and figure out what is going to work for us. And sometimes when we're playing in our training, we're like, that feels really good, or I might have to switch to a partial here because it just feels like a better movement, or I temporarily have some kind of a tweak or whatever. We're smart people. We're intelligent individuals. We can figure things out for ourselves. So when you hear information like this, take it with a grain of salt. When somebody says you should never do something, or that you should like if you should never lock out and you should always do a partial, or you should never do a partial. Those are kind of extremes on the ends of the spectrum, and I'm not interpreting what these guys said to be as such, but I'm just pointing out the two opposite ends of the spectrum, and they do exist in the lifting realm. Never lock out, or always do kind of a partial, never a full range rep, and never do partials. They exist. They're ends of the spectrum. Here's one big important take-home point. And this is something that really grates my cheese, all right? This is something that really gets under my skin. When coaches, gurus, internet super studs, YouTube super studs, and super studlets get on, run their mouth saying that you should never do this, you should always do this. The thing that bothers me is they treat all exercises as equal. When you're looking at training to failure, you're looking at partials. Some people will say you should always train to failure. You should never train to failure. You should always use a partial. You should never use a partial. Every exercise is different. Training to failure. Some exercises are very forgiving and very easy to train to failure. Some are very easy, and they're not going to take a physical toll. So to apply a blanket statement to something in the lifting realm, like you should never train to failure, I say this, I say training to failure isn't necessary, but I don't go and say you should never train to failure, because some exercises, and look, there's hundreds and hundreds of exercises and variations. Some of them are really easy to train to failure, and they're not going to take a physical toll. Do you need to train to failure to build muscle and strength? No. but I'm not going to be bold and say you should never train to failure. That's foolish talk. That's the talk of idiots. The same goes with partial, when you talk about partial movements. To say that you should never do them or always do them really completely dumbs down the discussion to an idiot level, because, and let's just be honest here, that's what it is. We start to talk like idiots with no logic skills. Some exercises, there's a lot of value in doing partials. Some exercises, there's no value in doing partials. When you do a curl, you don't even need to bring the weight all the way up. You can just bring it like up here, and you already have that good contraction. So you can do partials there. You don't have to do the full range of motion. There's a lot of value in doing partial deadlifts, not, you know, super high. I don't like stuff above the knees. I've played with it. I don't think it has an incredible amount of value unless you really want to build up your yoke strength, which is, you know, if you're weak up here, if you're weak in the upper back and traps, yeah, you can train it and use that. So the take-home point is that, two take-home points. When somebody says you should never do something or you should always do something, and they lay down this God-given commandment, it should be a red flag for you. Do some research and don't be afraid to play around and, you know, be a man, be a woman, determine what you want to do. And the second take-home tip is when somebody makes a blanket statement for all exercises and all exercise variations that you should never do this or you should always do this, they're ignoring the fact that every exercise is inherently different, and they are really dumbing down the discussion. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, check out the link below. If you've made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. Come on down, check the link below, join my Facebook group. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.